Right, here's a question for you. Would you trust AI with your healthcare? Specialists are calling for New Zealand to accelerate the uptake of AI tools for the likes of note-taking and referrals and things like that to relieve pressure on the medical system. Well, the doctor will see us now. Dr. James Leong is a Wellington-based ophthalmologist on the line. Good morning, sir.
Morning, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Look, I'm just wondering, can you tell us what your thoughts are on using AI in your practice?
Sure. So by AI here, just to clarify, I'm talking about large language models, similar to ChatGPT, which is what a lot of people have come across. And so I use it as a scribe in my clinic. It runs in the background. I ask permission from the patients, and it records our conversation. So I get to run the consultation like I normally would, talking directly to the patient, and I'm not having to type to make notes as I go along, because the AI will take the recording and produce the notes for me at the end, and all the rest of that sort of thing. But at the end of the day, I'm in control, so I have to review the notes and make sure that it's accurate, the letters are accurate. So there's still a human element to it.
So, okay, so you're checking to make sure it's working, but I mean, what if you've got a very, very busy day? How quickly are you checking it? You know, is it actually, I guess, trustworthy and foolproof is the first question you'd want to ask.
That is definitely a concern, because large language models as a whole are prone to hallucinations, as many know. What the particular tool that I'm using, it does have quite good controls, but I will occasionally catch it producing something that I don't agree with. So yes, it still takes a little bit of time. There's still, like, as I say, still the human is in control of it. It's only a tool, and you can't rely. You still have to make the diagnosis. You still have to talk to the patient about the options for treatment. So yeah, as far as I see it, it's beneficial, because the old way of doing it is I'm typing away or I'm writing as I'm talking to the patient. But this way, I can, the patient has my full attention.
So that was my next question, really, was how did you used to do it? Really, what you're telling me is that, like we're talking now, we can give each other our full attention and something's in the background making all the technology work for you so that the loose ends get tied up. Trust is really important, though, in these relationships. Have you found people wary about this, or do they mostly just go along with whatever you're putting forward because you've put your trust in it?
I've had one person push back on it, and I work in Wellington, so I had someone who works in the regulatory space, and this patient had concerns around the use of these large AI companies and how they use this data to train their models. But the provider that I'm using, they basically have an assurance that none of the data that is generated in the course of the use of it in a healthcare setting, that none of this data is being A, retained, and B, it's not being used to train the system further. But yeah, of course, like anybody on the street, I do have my concerns.
Sure, and I mean, I guess it's good you've done the homework to check where it's winding up. That is a worry. You wouldn't want that information, your private information, necessarily showing up on someone else's system, whether it's being used to train something or not. I guess we might get to the point where people don't trust a health professional unless they've got that backup. But I just sort of wonder, I mean, there must be other systems that you can be using to try and help your practice. You sound like you've already got this one pretty well bedded in. Where else are you looking next?
So it's a model that's already in use in the US, for example. The use of human scribes, so staff members, members of the team who are trained to actually be in the consultation and generate the notes. But that is a very, as you can imagine, that's a very expensive model of practice, but also it too has its own privacy implications, because you have someone else in the room during the consultation. But here in New Zealand, it's not common for anyone to use human scribes. But I suppose if we get to the point that AI doesn't end up being a thing, we can always fall back on good old human intelligence.
Yeah, okay, well that's a comfort to learn there. Dr. James Leong, Wellington-based ophthalmologist, with some really useful insights, I think, in how AI is perhaps helping things move a little bit more quickly through the practice. Thanks very much for your time this morning.